Hello, my friends. Welcome to Flow with Jess. I just realized that I'm wearing the exact same outfit that I was from my last video, but I swear to you it's a different day. But I just really like this dress. I'm in this phase where I'm like not into pants right now. I have this really fun story from when I was a kid that my mom always tells, and like when I was like two, 2 or 3, I went through this phase where I like refused to wear pants. Refused. I like exclusively wore dresses everywhere, to bed, out. My mom would try to put me in pants and I would scream bloody murder, and she would have to put me in like a princess dress, and that feels very fitting. and then I went through a phase where I didn't like dresses anymore, and I was like, I'm a tomboy, I play sports and things, and I refused to wear dresses for many years of my life. And then now I'm circling back and I'm like, I don't want to wear pants. They're just like so restrictive and uncomfortable, and I just really like dresses, and I really only own like one. I don't own a lot. So anyways, this is probably gonna be like my main thing, though I did have the intention to go out today and see if I can pick up a couple dresses. The challenge is that it's like the end of summer. Well, the good thing is it's the end of summer, so in theory there should be some dresses out there in the world for me, but then there is always that reminder that fall is coming, and then I'm gonna have to navigate cold legs. Like maybe I have to get some. I also used to have this phase where I would wear these like long, these like high stockings. I used to wear like in my very early 20s, it was totally my look, where I would wear like this cute like bodycon like knit dress, and then I would wear high socks. That was my, and then like and then boots. That was my, and a scarf. That was my vibe. And I was just thinking, I'm like, I wonder if the high socks are gonna come back with like knit dresses, maybe in a different style. I'm not as into like the tight fitting bodycon style anymore, but yeah, I'm interested to see as my style is evolving, especially like, you know, there's like the being a mom, so there's like the practical side of things, where like I have to be ready for anything. I am constantly getting up and down from the ground, picking stuff up, playing on the ground, so like I can't really wear mini dresses that are like tight. It's just like not a comfortable thing. You can't do anything in it, so like there has to be this practical element, but also like dressing for like wanting to feel like a princess. Every once in a while Josh will look at me, he's like, you look like a princess. I'm like, thank you. That's like all I want in this world. even at work, I've been called a princess, or like I've been serving people and they're like, you are a Disney princess. I'm like, I totally am. I sometimes like sing when I talk. There's a very sing-song quality to my voice, and I've had like little girls be like, you look like Elsa. And someone the other day told me that I reminded them of Merida. I think I'm saying that right. She was from Tangled, and that feels like a very big compliment, and one that I very much appreciate. So yeah, I'm like going into my Disney princess era. At one point I thought that I could like start a second career as a Disney princess, just dress up in ball gowns and like go to parties and like sing and like have fun with like little kids. I'm like, this sounds like such a fun thing to do. So yeah, we'll see if becoming a Disney princess is I don't know. Disney princesses don't have these bags. It was so funny. I've had a couple people say it on previous videos, but 2 people said it on 1 or like 2 videos ago. They were like, Jess, what happened to your eye? I'm like, oh, I just like, I just got bags under my eyes. I'm perpetually sleep deprived, and I don't know. I think I have astigmatism in my eyeballs, and I think that just means that my eyeballs are shaped like, or something's shaped like a football and not an actual like full circle. And because of that, I think I have what I call like I don't know, my eyes kind of look a little droopy sometimes. So I just like, I look a little weird, and that's fine. But yeah, people were like, what's going on with your eye? And I'm like, it's not a black eye. I just have droopy eyeballs, and I'm perpetually sleep deprived. Even though I'm so excited to say I got like a full 6 hours last night. I I went to bed around midnight, 12:15, and Jacob didn't, 7 hours. Jacob did not wake up until like 7:30, and I was like, whoa, this is what it feels like to get a decent amount of sleep. It felt so good. So yeah, I feel like pretty well rested today, and I'm not holding my breath for this to happen, but this is actually twice that he's had a big stretch in like a couple of weeks, so things are starting to like look up. So if anyone's a parent out there, I see you, and or hopefully you see me if you've already been through this stage, this phase. It finally feels like, heck yes, we're like getting to the point where sleep is like in reach, and it feels so good. It feels so good. But yeah, those are all my updates for today. Okay, so here's the fun stuff. This is what's on my mind, and grinds my gears, if you will. And not to say that I don't go through this, because I certainly do, right? Like, life's complicated, and there are certainly times in your life where so much is happening, and like you just bring that energy into the world because you are just like, oh, what's the image I'm getting? I think it's, is it not Rugrats? It's in I think it's the Charlie Brown world. You know, I can't remember his name, but it's like the dirty kid who has like the like flies and like the dirt just like always around his aura. That's the image I'm getting right now, when people are just like perpetually upset about everything. And they like, so I'm talking about work, and one of the things that I notice is that there is a handful of people that I work with, and you know, these people always exist in your community, it seems. Although I would like to believe, again, the more you like align to the world that you want to be in, less so you're going to be in contact with the types of people that like cause these triggers, because it's not going to trigger you because you've already like put those things to bed within yourself. But so this is something that I'm like trying to navigate, and I'm like, why is this happening in my world? And trying to reflect upon like why it's there. Is there a lesson? Is it just simply just part of it? Like what's going on? And so there's a couple people that are just like perpetually upset. They just like don't want to be there. They don't want to do their job. They just feel like they're constantly getting screwed over. And every single day, every single interaction, if I interact with these people 10 times in a day, every one of them is a complaint and a negative something. And it's so hard to navigate because they try to start conversations with you and they're just bitching. And I'm over here being like, trying to find the white, like the bright light. And it's like, why am I even trying to do this? And then I get to a point where I just like don't even answer sometimes, because I'm like, I can't. Canada life. Oh yeah, I was expecting a phone call today. That's okay. We're gonna send you to voicemail. Bye-bye. It's challenging, and it's just a good reminder of when, you know, people enter into your world and they have this like super negative mindset. It can start to like weasel itself into the environment, and it like taints everything, right? It's like you're trying to be positive, you're trying to have a good night, you're trying to do what you're supposed to do. Also, when you're in a work environment, like, you know, there's this element of, and I've had many thoughts about this, and I don't know how I feel, because I've heard so many people say, you know, leave your personal life at home. And it's kind of hard to do that. But there is this element of, yes, like when you are in your work environment, you put on a mask, and, you know, sometimes things leak through, and that's okay. But simply put, there's sometimes a job to do, and you have to be able to do that. And so it becomes blatantly obvious in the environment, and to guess, like, some people are doing this in front of people, and it's like they can hear you and you're just complaining about being here and doing your job, and it's like, you don't need to be here. Like, if you're this upset every single time you come to work, don't be here. Don't show up. Like, there are so many other people who would be so grateful to be in the position that you are in right now. And like, this constant negativity is just seeping into the workplace and causing other people to feel upset. Me, like, not upset, but it's just like I have to put up such a wall around them, because it's like I'm happy to be here. I'm having a good time. We all have bad days. And that's just part of it. But like, this consistency when it comes to negativity, it just like is just like not something that I want to engage in. And then what tends to happen is then they pull other people into this sphere, right? They pull people in. They do things they're not supposed to. They break the rules, you know? They take their hair down. They put on different shoes. It's like, you are working. We know you don't want to be here. You've made it blatantly clear to everyone around you. You have this, oh, not Milhouse. What is his name? I'm going to have that Charlie Brown kid. It's like, you have this aura about you, but it's like, why are you wearing your outdoor shoes? Like, you should be wearing your work shoes. Why is your hair down? Like, your hair should be up. Like, you're in the middle of your shift. Like, you need to do it. You need to do what you have to do because you're here. And it's like, by constantly being in this state of like negativity, there's no opportunity for you to find any light in it, because you are just so wrapped up in all of this poo-poo. And yeah, that was just like an interesting experience, because I just like don't want to be around that. And especially when you're in the service industry, like, especially when you're witnessing people in the service industry not doing their best, like not trying, not doing what they signed up to do. It's like, you are simply replaceable. You are. Like, this is one of those industries that people come and go, and the people that are meant to stay, they stay and they do good work, and you can tell the people that really, really care about what they're doing. But like, there are some people that are just have been in this for however long that they have, but they've lost sight of the fact that it's like, well, I don't know why they're there. I think they just are doing it because they don't know what else to do. There's just like this complacency. And you know, I saw this little video, and it was talking about the lobster, and this may or may not be true for other animals with shells, but you know, they studied lobsters and why and like kind of the deal with them losing their shells. And what it is the stimulus is they become uncomfortable. They are growing, and so they become very, very uncomfortable. And you have two choices. You can either stay very uncomfortable in this ill-fitting shell, or you can shed it, go under a rock, transform, and then, I don't know if I'm thinking of other creatures that like find shells, but no, I think that they grow them. Unconfirmed. But I think that that's the point of this. So they go under a rock, and then they create this new shell, and then it fits better, and then they get to go back into the world, and they're like, okay, here we are. But it's like, there are people in this world that do not shed their shell. They just stay uncomfortable. And it's like blatantly obvious that they are so uncomfortable, but they are not willing to shed and go under the rock and make this transformation. And that's on them. Like, to each their own. Everybody chose to come down to this planet, and you know, you can choose potentially, if you believe in it, you can choose a slower path, or you can choose a faster path. And at least for me, I just feel like I have made the commitment to be on a fast approach to growth and development, and I believe that being uncomfortable is very important. One of the things I've been playing with lately, and it's very uncomfortable, because there's the element of like not wanting to bring in negativity, right? So it's like attracts like, and You know, when you say things and you're like, oh gosh, like you know, you don't want certain things to come to fruition, but the fear of having them in your life leads to putting up walls and boundaries. And if that does happen to you, you don't know how to deal with it because you haven't like navigated the waves of like being in the frequency of, just because there's something negative that you think about or talk about doesn't mean it's not necessarily meant for you. Sidebar. But yes, so where was I going with that? Uncomfortable. Lobster. Fast track. I think I know, and then I'm like, I don't know. Where was I going with that? Something along the lines of like not wishing things into your reality. I remember. Okay, so there's this show called Shrinking, and I've spoken about it once before, but it's Harrison Ford and Jason Segel, and it's a really, really good show, and I like it very much. It's on Apple TV, and I'm a big fan of Apple TV when I do watch television, and so it's a therapist show. It's a group of therapists and their lives. So one of the techniques that they talked about was, you know, when you're really uncomfortable, like you want to have a conversation with someone, or anything in your life that feels very, very uncomfortable that you don't know how to deal with, you say to yourself, like you think about it, but you say, I welcome pain. And like, that's a really scary thought. So you think about the absolute worst case scenario. Absolute worst case. So you want to have this conversation with somebody, but you're really scared. So you imagine having this conversation. You imagine having this conversation, and then thinking about the absolute worst case scenario, and then like laughing about it and being like, and being like, oh God, this is like absolutely the worst case scenario. And then you actually go and have that conversation, and when it's completely not like that, because it never is the worst, it very rarely, very, 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 very rarely is it the worst case scenario in your life. So then you say to yourself, I welcome pain. I welcome discomfort. I welcome this, because by doing that, that is basically saying to the universe, even though this is going to be uncomfortable, even though I'm going to lose my shell and I have to go under a rock, even though I have to have this really uncomfortable conversation, even though I have to do this thing that I really do not want to do, I am saying, bring it on, world. I am ready for growth. I am ready for change. I am ready for transformation. I am ready for the life lessons. I am ready for the experience that is pain. Like, pain and pleasure are like in the same spot in the brain, pretty much. So things get a little bit weird. So like we get scared, but then we can also, like, there's just this really, really interesting thing. So anyways, one of the techniques is saying to the world, I welcome pain. And like, that feels like scary to me, because like, I don't like pain. I'm scared of pain. Most of us are. But it's, you know, I think about a root canal. It's like, I welcome pain. Like, it is what it is, but like, by setting yourself up to be so scared and anxious, it's like, what's that doing for you? Like, that's causing you more discomfort and more pain, because you're just, it's like, it is what it is, and we're on this planet and things are uncomfortable, and sometimes you have to get a root canal. It sucks. I had one on my front tooth, and like, it sucked in that, like, I had to get needles in my mouth, and then they had to drill it. Like, the sounds were worse than the pain. Like, the needles sucked, but like, it was just a couple seconds, and then the procedure was done in 10 minutes. Then you just felt like violated and weird, but like, you were fine. But the lead up to that, I was an anxious mess, because I was like, this is gonna hurt so much. Like, you know, you're reading about root canals and you're just causing yourself all of this pain. But by just being like, and not the pain leading up, because the anxious like thought process is just like never good for anyone, but just accepting that this is where you are. You have to have this uncomfortable conversation. You have to have this root canal. You have to do whatever, and saying, I welcome pain, and imagining the worst case scenario, and like laughing about it essentially, and being like, whoa, that would be the worst case scenario, and like trying to put it in perspective. Like, I'm just having this image right now of like having a root canal, and like, what's the worst case scenario? they put like 10 needles in your mouth and none of them work, and you're just like getting needle after needle after needle, and it's just not working. They're like, okay, we're gonna just drill on you, and you have to do it with absolutely no pain, and then the drill falls off the ground, and like you can go on and on with these stories that you tell yourself. But you know, what do they say about like Shakespeare? It's like tragedies are just comedy in a suit. I don't know, that's not what they say, but you know, tragedies are really comedies at the root. So trying to find that angle in your life, and like playing with welcoming discomfort without the anxious preamble, the anxious thought process, just welcoming it as it is. I don't know, it's like part of the process of this journey. I just had this little thought in my mind, and I hope that you don't mind me sharing, but I'm aware of someone that, you know, recently had an MRI, and I was reminded of my experience in MRIs and my experience with certain medical procedures, and they're very uncomfortable. And I think about the doctors and nurses who this is their world, and they're just so used to it that there's not a lot of support for people going through this experience, because they're just doing their job. They're so busy, and they're just, it's so normalized for them at this point that I don't think that they recognize I don't think they realize what the people are going through. And I'll be the first one to say, whenever I have some sort of medical procedure, like I lose my mind. Like I find it very hard to do. Like I'm so stressed about it all the time. But I had this thought one time about specific meditations, or like specific breath work, visualization, meditation, like anything in the realm of just like supporting the nervous system when it's going through a procedure of sorts, essentially. To help get the body in like a relaxed state so that you can comfortably do things. Because if you have to go into an MRI machine for an hour, number one, you know, something's wrong with you, and you're like scared about what the results may be, because you're like, this is obviously happening to me. I don't know what's going to happen. You have to go into this tiny tube, which is like, you know, even if you don't have claustrophobia, like claustrophobia, not even if you're not claustrophobic, it's scary to be in this like little tube. And then there's all these noises. You don't know if there's a zombie apocalypse that's gonna just like happen. You don't know if there's gonna be a power surge. All the things just go in your mind of all of these crazy things that could be happening while you're in this little tube. Even if you're not scared, like thoughts happen. And then you have to be so still for so long, and you're uncomfortable. And when was the last time, me included, when was the last time you sat for an hour still in meditation of sorts? You know, you can have your eyes open for meditation. When was the last time any one of you, me too, when was the last time any one of us sat for an hour just with our own thoughts, being uncomfortable in this tube when there's probably a zombie apocalypse going on? When was the last time that happened? No, that does not happen. So here you are, stuck in this tube, so uncomfortable with all these thoughts going through your brain, and you have to just meditate for an hour. And there's no lead up to that. There's no practice. They're not saying to you, just so you know, you're going to be in there for an hour. And like, you can't have headphones or anything. So it's like, no doctor is sending you, here's a list of some resources for the week leading up. I suggest that you practice yoga nidra. I suggest that you practice this. I suggest that you do this visualization, so that when you get into that position, you can anchor your breath. You can anchor your thoughts. You can find this little slice of peace in this little tube, you know, because like that's uncomfortable. And it's the same thing with any of these medical procedures. Like when I had to get my root canal, I was sitting in that chair and like my like TMI, but like probably you've been through this too. But like, you know, when you're like super nervous and like you're, you know, you start getting like your intestines are just like, oh, I'm not happy right now. You know, like you are just not happy. Your heart is racing. You know, you feel like your heart is in your chest. Like the nervousness, the anxiety is just so overwhelming. And they don't say to you, oh, the doctor is going to be 10 minutes. Here's some headphones. This is a visualization and breath work to calm your nervous system, to help you anchor before you go in. Nobody does that. And like, I just think that they should. And so my heart goes out to you, friend, who had to go through that, because I've been there. And even as someone who, and I don't think mine was an hour. I don't even think mine was that long, but like I have been in that position. And even in my, like, even being in my meditative practice, like even having that, I found it to be very challenging. And I feel like there's not a lot of supports for people going through that, because like it like wrecks our nervous system, I feel. So anyways, I feel for you. And yeah, so like petition for the medical system to incorporate more supportive practices for their patients, because oh my goodness, it can be a lot to navigate. And then yeah, circling back, I have all the feels for all of us who have bad days. I have all the feels for all of us going through pain. I have all the feels for all of us navigating this life, because it is not certainly easy, and it is overwhelming at the best of times. But like, we are here, we are doing it. But I'm just trying to, you know, here I am spreading a little bit of negativity, but I hope that there's a positive aspect where I'm just simply saying like, y'all, you know, let's embrace a little bit of this pain, and let's just like work towards finding, you know, the light, finding the comedy in our situation. We're having a not so good day. Like, keep your shoes on, stay in the zone. Like, you are an actor on stage right now. You know, this is the grand finale. This entire life, this is the grand finale you could consider. So what are you bringing to the stage every day? And sometimes it's not going to be your best, and that's simply okay. But like, you don't give in to that. You know, keep your shoes on, keep your hair up, find something positive, find the comedy, find the love, find the joy, find the light, find something to root onto and to hold on to. Because the more that you allow that darkness to spread to people, the harder it's going to be for all of us to get out of that mud, to get out of that auric dirt. Was his name Dirtbag? No, that can't be his name. I don't know why I thought that. Anyways, I gotta find that out. Millhouse? I feel like it was like, this is gonna drive me crazy. And I know it's just gonna be a simple Google search, but gosh, I wish I remembered. Anyways, that's it. Have the most beautiful day. Thank you so much for being here, for listening. Please subscribe if you haven't already. If you're like listening to the end and you're like, this was fun. I like this girl's content. I like this girl's dress, her princess vibes. Please consider subscribing, liking, commenting, doing all the fun things. I'm super happy that this channel is growing, and it's been really fun, and I plan to be here, and I love the support, and I hope to support you. And that's it. Bye.